Hi everyone and welcome to Layering Up with Drips and Splatters. So it's going to be a little bit of a long one and a different tutorial for me today. I'm going to create 4 cards and I'm going to show you how to use your distress sprays, your re-inkers, your fat brushes, your paints, your acrylic paints, distress inks, and perfect pearls, re-inkers, you name it. So the tutorial today is based on not being scared about layering up. So the cards come together really quickly because I've pre-watercolored some floral images from Ulta New, and the focus is going to be layering with splatters and lots of inks. And I hope you enjoy it. It's something really different, and I've really gone out of my way to research and do different methods with different mediums. Now, a lot of these I already had in my stash, and it was really all about utilizing what I've got. These here are gouaches, and I'm going to use these to add some splatters. So I hope this does help you in bringing and dusting out some of your supplies. Like something a little bit different like distress inks and re-inkers can be used as well. Now my biggest beautiful floral images that I've got here is from Ulta New Elegant Motifs. Now this is from a Craft Your Life project kit. And with this kit, it comes with stencils and dies and a 6x8 stamps. This is an amazing kit, I have to say. It's my first official kit I've brought from Ulta New, and it's going to be a little bit addictive for me. Okay, so ink blending palette. I have created a template here, which all I've done is laminated, and I created so the circles are big enough to smush your inks in, add some watercolors, add some pigment pearls, some dye inks, blend it, mix it, use your sponges with. So I've got this template. Now, if you're interested in grabbing this template, I'll link in the link below in just subscribing to my email list so you can grab this in your emails. So it's just a template. All you do is print and laminate it. Now, my paper of choice is this cotton watercolor card from Uniquely Creative. If you did not know, Uniquely Creative are Australian owned, and Tracy and the team are amazing, and they have the most beautiful array of products in their store that they create. I love their watercolored cardstock. Now, to create the layers, I've got the WOW heat tool. It is the best heat tool because it's got 2 settings. I'm going to be using heat setting 1 because it is a lower heat setting and also lower fan speed. Now here are the images that I've already pre-heat embossed with opaque bright white in super fine detail, and I've watercolored them in with my Karen markers. The focus of today's tutorial is not on me watercoloring as it is to create the background panels on drips and splatters for these beautiful images that I've colored in. I've been experimenting a lot on my colors and mixing them up. So if you want to see more inspiration, head over to my Instagram where I showcase a lot of my floral images, which I have been knee deep in watercoloring lately. And so I hope this inspires you with trying different color combos as well. Now, a couple of tools that I use are this color catcher. I've had it for years, as you can see. And because I've used lots of inks, I'm going to just protect my cardstock here just with some paper towels. I've cut up that watercolor cardstock in panels, in card front panels ready to go. So first up, I'm going to layer this first panel up with some water, and it's clean water with the distress sprayer. I'm going to absolutely oversaturate this. I'm going to then add with a big fat brush, which I'm going to then soak up with clean water. Now the reason why I've chosen a big fat brush is it's juicy, it saps up all the ink and the water and any saturation, which is going to be what I'm going to use and leverage to add the layers of inks. Now what I've used here is 2 sprays that I've done a DIY with, mixing it up with some pigment pearls or some of the paints, shimmer paints that I've got. And I'm going to use this one here, and this one I've used and mix it up with a champagne paint and water. And then I'm just going to add layers and layers and layers. So how I'm going to start off with is absolutely drenching it and just picking it up by dipping my brush into the bottle and just adding these drips of layers. And I like that streaky look. So I'm going to show you different ways to get those looks or getting a bloom effect with your paints and your sprays. So first one, this is the first card panel. I'm going to dry it off just a little bit, just enough so that I can create then another faux layer. So I've pressed my distress ink onto my ink blending palette here, and I'm going to pick up some of the ink, and I'm just going to make sure I just spray just a little bit more, and then I'm going to add this. This is going to almost create like a brownie vintage sepia look to the actual panel, and I'm just going to do the same effect by adding that. Now because I want it to bloom a little bit more, I don't need it to be as concentrated, I'm going to just add some sprays here and there. And any excess that are dripping off, I am just going to place it on my towel, and it just comes off quite easily. I'm going to heat this up. This time I'm going to actually heat it up really good and thorough. If you're not happy with any of the splotches, pick it up with a paper towel, and you can see when this panel dries, it flattens. So a lot of the watercolor cardstock really sap up the paint. Now you're going to have to excuse the excess noise behind. I did try and move away from my house a little bit, and my husband is currently renovating, so there is extra power tool noises you'll be hearing in the background. Now what I've done is I've actually used a thinner brush and picked up some of that excess ink of the distress ink, and I'm going to use another brush as a leverage to bang it to get those little paint splatters. I'm actually going to create a little bit of a gold paint splatters by using my Perfect Pearls and just mixing it up with a little bit of water, and I'm going to splatter this. This is just going to add some little tiny flecks of shimmer on the panel, along with the distress ink splatters as well. And you can see me, I'm using my other brush as a leverage to add that splatters. And there is the first panel. Second panel, I'm going to use this new Tonic Nuvo Mica Mist. Now because I have just sprayed it on directly, I'm going to come in with a distress sprayer over the top. This actually breaks down the mica a little bit, and you'll see it almost kind of create the, not a blooming effect, but it separates a little bit, and it looks really cool and texturized. I absolutely love the look that this has created on my back panel here. So I want it to bloom just a little bit more, so I add a little bit more water, and then I do hit it with my heat tool to dry. I'm making sure it's on heat setting 1. I could use heat setting 2 to hurry up the process a little bit, but the last thing I want to do is to really burn anything, or I just want to take my time in making sure the panel is dry. I find that the slower the process and the better the results for creating these backgrounds. So I don't rush it, I take my time. That's why it's a little bit of a longer tutorial for me today. However, I do speed up in certain places of my tutorial, because otherwise I'll be boring you to death. Now I've got this dilution ink here, the spray. I love this teal color, and I'm adding a lot. Now my color combinations that I've used for the background, I've chosen specifically to go with the floral images that I've already colored in. Now once that is dry, you can see that actual color really dried up and lightened up a lot. I'm also going to add, with the white gouache from Winsor & Newton, some big blobby paint splatters. Now, when I say blobby, it goes blobby, and that is probably because I use too much water and rather leaving enough pigment. Thank goodness for my colour catcher, and let me tell you, that would have gone all over my craft room. So this is why I have a colour catcher. If you've got like a shoe box, or you know, a box you've cut in half, use that. Or, you know, like absolutely cling wrap your whole room. No, you're probably not a messy crafter like me, but I'm pretty messy. Even though my projects look nice and neat at the end, I'm actually quite messy. Okay, now third panel. We're on to the third panel. We're getting through it. I'm going to use my Catherine Pooler ink refills here, and this is in Skylight. I'll put the all the products and links descriptions in the box below. Now I'm going to dry this one in between, and I'm actually holding it on an angle, and I'll do that for most of the cards when I dry this, because I kind of like that swoopy kind of look. Now I know that's not a word, but you know, it's kind of whimsical to the side. Here I am going heavy-handed on my paint splatters as well. You know, and I do this a couple of times. So I dry in between the white layers, because I used a lot of water, it actually dries up a little bit transparent. So the more opaque of the color you want, the more thicker you want your mix to be with the water and paint, which is fine. I probably would have gone a little bit more on the paint ratio, but the end result looked fine, and I was really happy. On card panel 4, I swear you're going to see the end results, but I wanted to show you different methods on this. So this one here is a completely dry panel. I'm not even going to use water. I want to show you kind of this faux marble effect you can get with your sprays, and because this is has a lot of mica and pigment into it. I love that I was able to create this marbly full type of look. So the trick is to dry in between the layers, so it keeps that water drippy marbly look. That I love that I was able to achieve that, and it looked really good in the final piece. So I work my way through each layer, dipping a brush directly into the bottle itself, and this brush is a little bit more flatter and pointier, so I'm actually able to use the flat side to create that water look just by pressing it slightly on a flat angle side. I hope I explained that right and you got it. I hope that, you know, the visual was enough, because I think I've butchered that's how I explained it. All right, using my heat tool in between the layers, like I said before, I am going to just work through each layer. And you can really see how cool this effect is. Again, this is on the watercolor cardstock, but it's completely dry. So I've not saturated the card, I've not prepped it. All I've done is used a dry cardstock. So this dry technique works really well and looks really cool as the end result. And making sure, again, apologies for the noise in the background. Lots of works are happening around the house. And I'm on to what I think is my final layer. I may add one more. I totally have forgotten, and hopefully we get there. But you can see how I'm kind of doing that swooping full look by the way I'm actually adding these layers on. So there is my layers. Tell me, what do you think? Isn't it cool? So here are the 4 panels that I've made today with you guys. There on the left hand side is just the collection of items that I've used in today's card, or today's cards, plural. There's 4 of them. Never done that before. It's a bit scary making a lot of cards. Okay, so here are my pieces that I've die cut using my little mini blossom from Alton U. And I've used some rectangle dies to cut them down to a card front and fit on a top folding card panel. I've got some Hero Arts and Rosie Studio stamps that I'm going to use the sentiments with. I will use 2 inks, making sure I use my Misty, because one, I've already mounted it, big mistake, but because I've got the Misty, thank you Misty, I was able to stamp and then re-stamp if I needed to, which I did need to. I'm going to finish these cards off with some embellishments, and these are some gems. Love them. They're either from Pretty Pink Posh and I believe from Studio Katia and Cat Scrappiness. And I've kind of just coordinated them with the colours and using my Tombow Mono adhesive just to place these on. And that is it. Tell me, what do you think? First official tutorial back into 2022. So I hope you enjoyed my first one for the year, and I look forward to reading your comments. If you want to know the products I use, it's all listed below as well. I do have affiliate links, and I do have discount codes as well, especially for WOW embossing powder, and you know, your help always supports my little crafty hobby and help me create these video contents for you all. So thanks for watching, everyone. I look forward to reading your comments, and check out my other tutorials coming up this year. Take care. Bye.